Hi, my name is Vicki.
My name is Donna. You can see our names on the bottom of the screen. That's really cool.
Yes, our whole names. Do we want to leave it that way?
Yeah,
Well,
well, I don't mind.
we'll just, decide later.
Yeah, you can. That's a good idea. That's something to change.
Okay.
I don't have all day to edit these things.
Well, no, but see, that's just,
But
us laughing is always a good thing.
yes, it is. That's
So,
true.
so this is who we are.
Yes. Yes,
We
that's
are,
true. This is who we are. Very
yes,
good. I like that.
yes.
And we're here we're starting our podcast called It's Your Time.
And Donna, you came up with that name. And how was it that you came up with that name?
Well, my guides sent it to me while I was doing the dishes. I heard them say, it's about time. It's your time. I keep saying it's about time. Well, it's that too. But I was excited because Vicki and I were talking about starting this podcast, and I was getting excited because I've wanted to do, and I've tried to do podcasts in the past, but they didn't really pan out. So Vicki said, let's do this. And I said, yes, I would love to. And then I said, I'm so excited. And my guide said, it's your time. And I said, yes, it is. It's wonderful. And they said it again, it's your time. And I said, oh, is that the name? We were looking for a name. Is that what? And nothing came through after that. So I was like, okay, that's my answer.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thinking it's your time, as in anyone who's listening to this, it's your time to listen and awaken and open yourself to listening to many points of view about the same subject, awakening.
That's what this awakening thing is all about, is just having different perspectives and seeing things through our own unique lenses of life.
That's beautiful. That's why I wanted to do this podcast, because when I want to express something, it takes me a long time to get to the point, and Vicki will just look at it and say 3 words, and there you go. That's it. Exactly. Beautiful. I love it.
My my superpower is making things short and sweet and to the point.
That is a superpower. So the things that what we would like to talk about, I guess each time would be what we're working on, because that will show people, open their minds maybe to something they hadn't thought of. We may also, we are going to do some interviews of people that are doing energy work. And Vicki does energy work, and I do energy work and other things. And I'm into, see my tuning forks back here. I'm learning that. Oh, there is so much that we want to talk about. So someday we'll just have to pick a subject and just go for it.
Mm-hmm.
So
So when you were saying it's your time, I was thinking to myself, because I'm retired and I'm, getting ready to actually come out of the closet as a real spiritual person. Because normally I just keep my mouth shut and just do a lot of reading, do a lot of watching of YouTube videos, which I'm sure most of us do at this point, if we're on this path, because that's where you can find the content. There's so many people with content. I think what's going to make us different is that we're not polished. We're just normal people.
true. That is so true.
we're just normal people going through this whole spiritual journey, not knowing where we're going. We're just kind of seeing where it takes us. And right now it's taking us to each other.
That's right. And that's so exciting. There was a second lunch that we went to when we kind of both realized, because I had said, I always, when I see people, I feel like I've known them before a lot of times, but I just felt like we grew up together. I just felt like you were my, one of my high school friends, or actually junior high friends or something like that.
Well,
And then
it's funny because I feel like I'm having a best friend at this time of my life. And that's like, because I always had a best friend growing up, but I haven't really had a real best friend for, decades now. I've had close friends, but not like a best friend.
A best
I don't want to
friend.
scare you. I'm not a stalker.
Oh, no, 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 not at all. I have many BFFs, but I see what you mean. I do because, well, I had a friend, my best friend, um, like that at the beginning of my journey. So I know what you mean. You are a best friend. You're definitely one of those that, because I mean, all day long now, and I stop myself a lot because I want to text you and say, I just thought of this or I just thought of that. And especially since I'm supposed to be working.
I'm a good distraction.
I'll be like, oh, okay, text her at break, text her. But for a while we both were saying that. I hope I'm not texting too much now because we're just so excited, and we have the joy of enlightenment within us, like crazy, like we're just bouncy with it, and there's so many exciting things that are happening out there that, like you said, there's so many people on YouTube, and we're going to resonate with a certain type of person.
Older clientele for me.
Probably. And obviously most likely female, but yeah, but there's most of us are that are awakening right now, or that are we're going to be taking over pretty much, I think. So the females. So yeah, so I do other things on Facebook. I have a website, I have etc etc. And you do energy work with your certain groups that you work with. And what was the other? Oh, what you're doing now, like what classes are you taking right now?
Well, right now I'm only taking the one, and it's a beginner astrology class. I've taken a beginner astrology class before, but I love astrology, and so everything is kind of lining up to show itself, and it is not, just to bring this in. It's a new moon today, and this
Yes.
is our very first attempt.
Yes, that's really wow. That's really good that it worked out that way. I love
Yes.
that.
And those energies that everyone is talking about right now.
Yes. Well, for at least the next 2 days, but my guides and astrologists are saying until May 4th, I think it is.
Yeah. And
There's
the thing is, and they're not going to go away. They're just right now, they're just kind of bombarding us, but they're going to taper off so that we can integrate and we can, get back to normal for a while, and they're going to come again. And so it's like they're layering it on top of us.
yeah.
Those energies are just being layered and layered and layered. And I'm excited to see where that goes, actually.
Well, I felt from my I have to explain who my guides are at some point, but through my guides, I felt they never worded this at all, but I got this more as a feeling that this is not an exam type of test, but between, like, this astrologically is open anyway. And the photon belt is happening anyway, but the galactic help, I guess you would say, out off Earth help. That's a good way to put it. People don't think you're too woo woo when you say that.
But we are.
Yeah, we are. I'm super woo woo, but anyway, I don't. People don't like that word. I'm fine with it. I have no problem with that. But I hope you don't. Have a
I
problem.
don't.
Okay, good. I hadn't even asked you that.
We are who we are.
Yeah, that's right. So, and that's actually, to me, that's a good moniker. I like it. But they are also sending. Um, it's like they're answering our soul call. So we are opening ourselves up. This is just for right now, but I feel like this is a test. Maybe it's just a test for me. I don't know, but that's kind of what I got from my guides, that this is kind of we're just going to test this and see how it works. And if it works well, especially with all the energies that are happening, if it works well and people take open themselves up or take experiential steps, or things will happen exponentially. Wow, all these EX words. So that's what it feels like to me. But they're saying all of the YouTube and Pam Gregory,
Mhm.
beautiful. I love her, astrologist. They're all explaining and saying that, these energies are new, that these planet alignments, some of them she hasn't been able to find in history. So
Mhm.
this is historic. So
And all the planets are direct right now,
that's right.
which is very, unusual. And so that's a big push forward, which is why we're doing this too. Just-
Yes, it is. So yeah, so a couple of people had said on their channelers had said that their guides say this, and this, and then I this morning started my every Sunday morning I do ask them, give me a channel for my Facebook page. And so they pretty much said the same thing that everyone else is saying. And on one side, I was kind of disappointed, but on the other side, since they're channeling through me, it's using my knowledge and my words also. So it's
Yes.
coming out in a different way than anyone else. It's the same,
Mhm.
but it comes out in a different way
It's
than.
all just validation, you
Yeah,
know.
oh, definitely. It definitely is that. So, and
Mhm.
I've tested that where um I stopped watching YouTube or doing anything for a couple days before I do the channeling. And then I did the channeling, and then I started watching YouTube, and it was the same. So it's like we're all connected to the same things are
Yes.
coming. So
And that's something that I've just started doing recently because I like to get in before that door closes. I don't like to be too early. Heaven forbid.
I don't know. I think we're going to be early on something. I have a feeling we're going to be early on something, but it
But
had to happen for both of us.
yeah, but what's been happening, is like I've started doing meditating in silence, which I never did before. And it was something that I don't hear my guides. I don't work that way. Um, but I like do my cards. I draw my tarot cards for myself, and it was telling me that I needed to, which it normally did tell me I needed to meditate more. And then all of a sudden it came to me as like I needed to meditate in silence. It's like, because I think of the Four of Cups, the guy sitting on the tree. This is who I needed to be. The guy sitting on the tree and saying, no, I don't need that. I don't need that. I am perfectly fine right here in my element. And so, but since I've been doing that, I've also been getting, I'm not going to say channeling, I get a phrase. It was funny
Right.
because, yeah. So the first phrase I got was the addictive silence of, hold on.
Is it the collect?
Unanimity.
Oh,
Unanimity.
unanimity.
Addictive silence of unanimity. And it's like now I've kind of come, it takes a few days before these things make sense, because they could
Hmm.
make sense in a variety of ways. But right now it's like when you're in your whole self, you are unified, you know, and it is actually something I'm beginning to look forward to, is to just sit in the silence of myself. And so
Nice.
that's kind of what that means to me now, is the addictive silence of unanimity. So that was pretty cool. And then
Yeah.
a couple days ago, I got um, the light has penetrated the earth. That's it. The light has penetrated the earth. So I thought, I need to start sharing this stuff, or they're going to quit giving it to me, because they're giving it to me to share. And so
Right.
I actually put it out to my energy group. I said, oh, by the way, the light has penetrated the earth, whatever that means to you. And that actually was, and I hadn't seen anything on YouTube. I did not know. It just kind of came to me. And
Hmm.
so, and one of my people on my chain, Patty, had put into the group a channeling from Judith Kusel, and it was all about the divine light now hitting the earth. It's like,
Hmm.
and I like to be funny, so I said, I get 5 words. She gets this beautiful channeling. It was pretty funny. It's like, oh, it was beautiful. I get the light has penetrated the earth. It's like, fine.
But that's one of your superpowers that you
I am short and sweet to the point.
yeah, that's it. So that's and so it's going to come to you in that way. That's
Yeah.
I love that. So
Yes.
so who do you think your guide who do you think of as your guides?
Well, going through this whole thing, it's like I've gotten actually I came up with names because I like names. And every time I would like get a name, I would look it up to see what it meant. I would Google it and it would like be perfect. So like my very first guide that came to me, her name was Zakaya.
Oh, pretty.
And that's not something I would like just think of. It just kind of, came into my mind, Zakaya. So I looked it up. And one of the first things I saw was there was a picture of a lady, and she was a social justice warrior. And that was because that was very much who I was at that time, was a social justice warrior. I mean, we all kind of are, but that was, big on my fiery list, of course, at the time, you know. And so she came in. And then I got her name is Jonelle, and she was beauty. I looked up that and it was beauty. So it's like I got a social justice warrior, I got like an angelic type of being with beauty and joy, and I have Bill, he's a protector.
I love how you say that.
Bill.
Well, I'm Bill.
My name's
like,
Bill.
We've been married 70 years. That's what it sounds like. That's so funny. And
He's a guy. He has a lot of male energy.
That is so neat. Oh,
So
I'm not able to delineate like
so that's
that.
kind of how I I like get a name. I looked it up. It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I've had, now that I think of it way back, I've had a lot of different names. And before I channeled, I did that. Yeah.
Do you look them up?
Well, yeah, I did. Some of them were, it was like I thought I made them up because they didn't come up with anything. One, I think I was Lenoda, L-L-O-E, Lenoda, L-L-E-N-O-D-A. And I think that was from a past life. It didn't mean anything to anybody in Google land. And so I thought, well, I just made it up. And that's why I didn't think I was channeling for a long time, because I've always had a huge imagination, writer, painter, my whole life, very artsy fartsy. So, I always thought, and people have always said, whenever I brought up these things that I would see or hear as a child, they would say, oh, you have such an imagination, so I just chalked it up to imagination and didn't know that these things are beings that are coming here to help us. So there are so many instances over the years that, and many different names, but the ones that came to me were, I guess I don't know, they seem to have taken me to a place that had like Oz, but it was blue rather than the Emerald City. It was blue kind of thing, or cerulean blue, whatever you call it. And two of them, they say they're my sisters. One of them is a teacher, and she keeps saying, I am yourself. So I don't know if that's me then, but we're best friends. So I don't know, but her name is Leetka, which is Leetka. And the other one's name was, I don't, starts with a D. It's close to Divina, but that's not it. Davnia, that's it. Davina. Davnia. Davina.
That's a pretty name.
It is pretty, but and there have been others when I first started doing my shamanic work. Other I don't know, guides, I guess, would come through. And the main one, the first one that I really felt close to, I don't even remember his name now. That's so sad, but he was just with me. They come and go.
They do, because I've gotten ones that came in later. I've gotten ones that have come in recently. So it's like, because we're all evolving here.
Right, that's right. Yeah, and their mission is to speak to whoever is of the same frequency who is on Earth that may be able to pass along, or they're just giving us good energy,
Right.
whatever it is. That maybe it's not something, a lesson they need to teach necessarily, but he gave me a poem, and that was really beautiful about Mother Earth, and he said he taught me a lot because he said, all of us are here. We walk beside you. We do not walk ahead of you. We do not walk behind you. We walk beside you. And
Oh, that's
all of
beautiful.
your all of your guides walk beside you. And he said, remember that. And I was like, okay. So that set me up to, like, I guess because I was just like, oh, all these wonderful spirits, I was,
Uh-huh.
and then that puts you on a road to feeling that unworthiness, and looking in awe at something else, and they were like, no, that don't go there. That's not what it is. So, but
They're here to help us because this is Earth.
oh yeah,
We
this
all
is
need help.
that's so true. That is so true. Well, we are, and that's the one thing I love about, like you said, we're best friends, that women, and most of the women that I know and hang out with and watch on YouTube anymore are, I mean, we're all equals. I mean, we totally
Mhm.
are. And we're, I mean, I met a person face to face who I kind of had, that kind of a fangirl thing
Yeah,
going on. And as soon as, and she was really good at it. As soon as she saw it, she was like, it's a community where, she said, reminded me of that. We are all this. And I was just like, you are absolutely right. You're delightful. And that is absolutely true. So it keeps coming back. And I told her I was going to be doing something similar to what she does, and she said, "Oh, that's so wonderful! I can't believe so many people are doing this." And I had to examine that for a minute. My ego was in there, my ego, because if I was doing that, I would be thinking, the first thing you would think is, well, somebody like the 3D Earth way of looking at it. But now we all just say, somebody says, I'm doing this. I'm so happy for you. Everybody's just happy for everyone else. And, there's no competition. And I,
that's what the great thing is about is like we are all so aware of how unique we are that nobody makes us feel less than. Everybody has something special about
that's right. Like, we're all pieces of source, and
them.
we
Hmm.
are creative seeds on the earth. And yeah. So, what I've come to through all of my trainings that I have done over, long story, we're going to interview each other and how we got here
Yeah,
next
it's a
time.
long and winding road.
It is a long and winding road, that's right. But I've been through so many different classes, but shamanic training and cymatic training, and all the tuning fork and all of the all that technology, which is coming back, and things that have come to me from guides, from my Egyptian guides, all of that. But what really started me on this was when my father died, my grandma, who had passed, brought me my grandfather, and that is what opened all of this. And so, but it was my time. Obviously, it's time. Everybody
It
has
is
their
your
time.
time.
It's your time. Wow, I love how I did that. Isn't that good? I didn't even think of that, but see, that's why it's such a great name, because so that's the other thing, is it's not just our time, it's your time.
It's everybody's
Watch,
time.
everybody's time. It's your time to step up and put yourself out there, if that's what your guides are telling you need to do, and or your soul, if your soul is telling you to do that. So
It's, kind of, well, if you have to look at it, it's like they're all the same. Everybody. All those energies are blending together at some point, because we're all source,
that,
so
yeah, yes. And so when you, I think because you and I connect, and we're, some things we're totally opposite, some things we are exactly the same.
Mhm.
So, you know, that although most everything that we talk about, we both agree. So we haven't, there's nothing where I've had, you know, because a lot of times you're speaking with someone and they have their ideas of what it is. And I just say, oh, well, that's really nice, you know, and just leave it alone. I have never felt that with you at all, ever. So, you know, and I don't feel that you do that with, like, when I start talking woo woo, I can see that look on people's faces where they're just, oh, that's not.
Oh, that's who you are. Ah.
Yeah. You do
Well,
what?
well,
You're a shaman? You know, how do you?
do you remember years ago when people started getting into the spiritual stuff and they would, I'm not going to say be affected, but they would be so much into the spiritual space that they would almost lose touch with being a regular person.
Yes.
And
They would
I can
so out
see that
there.
happening, you know, but I think people are a lot more comfortable now in their bodies and being this way.
That too. And I think also like I'm remembering way back when this is an oldie on the Tom Snyder show, the lady from
You got
Mars came.
like
Yeah.
Sylvia Brown.
No, not
Oh,
way before that even. The woman who said she came from Mars and people
oh.
everybody laughed at her, but I listened to her and went, that sounds really interesting. You know, I thought it was interesting.
Mhm.
So, but she was way out there, whereas now everything is kind of
Yeah,
evening,
it's not that out there anymore,
not
you know.
anymore. I haven't said anything to you where you said that's way out there. So, I,
Well, and I will say that the very first, well, and you know, this is an experience to go through because I remember, you know, I got the Gaia channel and I watched a lot of the Gaia, a lot of cosmic disclosure where they would be talking about, you know, like all of the going out into the space and, you know, the Star Trekky stuff. And it's like I could go there. I could, you know, because Star Trek and everything, it's like I could believe anything was possible. When they
right.
went into the inner earth, I had to go, I don't know if I can go there. But that was years ago, and now I'm all over the place. I think I go to Telos in my dreams.
Oh, that's so cool. That's so neat. Yeah. The more exposure and the more validation you get from other
Mhm.
people, that's the thing. And you know, telling someone what you're going through or what you've been through, and they if they match it, that validates everything. So
Yeah, yeah.
that's so great. So
So
well,
anyway, so how do you think this has gone so
I
far?
think this is good. I think I'm not so sure about the beginning, but
Well, you know,
I
everyone's
think
got to
we'll do.
start somewhere.
Yeah, I think I think we should, I think we'll do well. So I like it. I, I don't, you know, even if nobody watches it, it was fun.
It's
So
fun.
it
And the
sounds,
thing is, and that's what I learned. It's like it doesn't matter if anybody sees it. You just have to put it out
that's right. There you
there. Yeah.
go. And because and just the energy of doing it and sending it out there. That's
Mm-hmm.
wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Oh, I'm so excited.
Yes. Yay. Well, we got the first one almost in the can.
Yeah. Wow, I haven't heard that in years. That's a good one. It's a good one. So yeah, so just, you know, really quickly, we'll just,
Mhm.
I don't know, when are we going to do this? Like once a month or I don't know, every week? I don't, I can't do every week, but I would love to. But
It's like, I
yeah,
don't know, so far we've been doing pretty well. But
yeah.
you know what? We don't have to be tied down to any particular schedule
Okay.
at this
Oh,
point in our lives. You know what I
that's
mean?
good. I like that.
You
Okay.
know, whenever we feel like we want to get together and we got something to say, we can record it and put it up there.
Put it out there and see what people say.
Yeah.
And oh, we should tell them
And
have an email address. What is it? It's your time
oh,
for being the number 4. It's your time without the apostrophe. For being.com
it's
dot
your time for being
it's your
dot.
time for being at gmail.com. That's it. Spit
Okay.
it out, Donna. Yep.
It's your time for being at gmail.com.
Yeah. So,
Okay.
and we'll check that every so often. And anybody have any questions or ideas of what podcast you would like us to do? I guess we're going to be interviewing a couple people that do energy work, a shaman, one that does the emotion code. And what does Gail do?
Gail talks to animals.
An animal,
An animal intuitive
whisperer
or something like
Okay.
that. Yeah.
Okay, good. Yeah. So yeah, and anyone that may want to be interviewed, we could do that too. That would be fun too. Just
That would
yeah.
be fun.
Okay. Well, thank
Well,
you. I love this.
thank you. Thank you. Whoever is watching this, thank you for being there. Thank you,
Yes.
Donna, for being here.
Thank you, Vicki. Well, it's because of you that we did all this, so thank you. It's great.
Well, it all came when you handed me a business card and I went, oh, I always wanted to get business cards. Boy, she's really doing stuff. I just thought about it.
I am doing stuff, but I don't know. It just needed that extra energy, I guess, to get things going. So, and
Okay.
on one of these, I want to tell them about my book too. That would be nice.
Oh, yes, very much so.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
We'll see you later. And,
it's
next
your
time.
time, remember.
That's right. And it's your time for being at gmail.com. All right. Bye, you guys.